You are listening to a free version of the Majority Report by Sam Seder. To support the show and get another 15 minutes of daily program, go to majority.fm, please.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
It is Thursday, May 21st, 2020. I'm Michael Brooks. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report where each broadcasting steps from the literal. Be really clear, some people don't get this. We literally mean that downtown Brooklyn is the heartland of America. On today's program, John Nichols, editor at The Nation magazine and journalist, his new book, The Fight for the Soul of the Democratic Party, a biography of both Henry Wallace and the Democratic Party itself. Great, fascinating history. A new report from Columbia University suggests that 36,000 lives could have been saved if lockdowns went into place even just a week or so earlier. Workers filed another 2.4 million unemployment claims as the pandemic fueled, and maybe other factors as well, depression hurdles forward. But Mitch McConnell, very clear that he wants to get rid of enhanced unemployment benefits in the next stop measure bill. Senior officials advised Trump against emergency arms sales to Saudi. The under question Secretary of State Mike Pompeo dodged the advice. Warren changes her tune even more on Medicare for All in a bid to be Biden's VP, but which VP polls the best? Trump withdraws from the Open Skies Arms Control Treaty, scrapping another key element of the global arms control framework. Opinion polls suggest that Biden is widening his lead by up to 11 points over Donald Trump. White House's own data crunchers suggest that southern counties are about to get hit very hard by coronaviruses. Death toll continues. Corona testing is a mess, according to a University of Minnesota Center for Infectious Disease and Research Policy report. And Trump escalates his campaign to discredit mail voting, mail balloting, threatening federal funds in 2 battleground states. I wonder why he doesn't want it to be easier for people to vote. And a child deportation surge amidst the pandemic was already in the works going back to 2017 and only accelerating now. Emergency relief screws up to 5 million student loan borrowers. They got the relief, but their credit scores got dinged. And Brazil, Donald Trump's kindred spirit, Bolsonaro, has led his country to a record high in new corona cases. All that, as well as a really brilliant proposal spearheaded by Amy Klobuchar and Ben Sasse. 4,000 in skill training credits to workers displaced by the coronavirus. Practically FDR-esque in terms of boldness, vision, and meeting the moment from Amy Klobuchar, Ben Sasse, Cory Booker, and one other. Who was the last senator that co-sponsored this dreck? Tim Scott, Republican from South Carolina. So bipartisan nonsense. Not even a piece of tape on a leaking yacht. Guys, Matt, Brendan, how is everybody?
Staying alive.
Staying alive.
Yeah. Another Thursday. We're back.
Another Thursday. We're back.
The bros.
The bros. So Trump his poll numbers are not looking great right now. It isn't just the sort of national head-to-heads, but the battleground polls are starting to show steady leads for Biden. Obviously, very early in the campaign, Democratic Party, absolutely wretched, incompetent. Republican Party, absolutely wretched and ruthless. Things can change. But serious trouble for Trump if there is an election in November. And he, like every other Republican, wants to make it as hard for people that might vote against him to vote as possible. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so the logistical case for mail-in voting is on its face. Don't want people in large crowded areas. Let them fill out a ballot at home, mail it in. This works effectively, no problem. Donald Trump is crusading against it. And again, big part of a longer Republican push. Republicans on the state level and the Supreme Court have been undermining and attacking voting rights for well over a decade. And Donald Trump has fixated on conspiracy theories and delusions and fantasy about undocumented people voting to soothe his ego because he lost the popular vote by over 3 million votes in 2016. Here he is yesterday at the White House suggesting that a core constitutional guarantee is an honor.
Common sense would tell you that it's massive manipulation can take place. Massive. And you have cases of fraudulent ballots where they actually print them and they give them to people to sign. Maybe the same person signs them with different writing, different pens. I don't know. There's a lot of things can happen. No, if you can, you should go and vote. Voting is an honor. It shouldn't be something where they send you a pile of stuff and you send it back. Another thing that happens, a lot of people in certain districts, this is historically, a lot of people in certain districts don't ever get their ballot. They keep calling, where's my vote? Where's my ballot? Then election day passes and they forget about it. And that can happen in the thousands. I'm not saying it does, but it can. It probably has.
What I love about Trump there is he's going from repeating familiar Republican myths and lies about fraud, which we'll talk about in a second, and then just going to like a general, there could be problems. That's very Trump, just the ultimate, he can be such a school marm concern troll. They always talk about this. Voter fraud. Let's go to the Brennan Center and get a couple of pieces of it, because common sense might tell you some things, but reality might tell you something quite different. This is a report from the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University School of Law, debunking voter fraud myths. A comprehensive 2014 study in the Washington Post found 31 credible instances of impersonation and fraud from 2000 to 2014. 31 credible. That's not even that we know that they are. That just means maybe this isn't a Republican fever dream.
Those were some tough hombres.
Those are some tough hombres. That is 31 credible instances of 1 billion ballots cast. 2 studies done. I'll just read one more thing. Everybody should read the whole report. You're going to need to, share this with friends and family, because the Republican war on voting rights is going to be in overdrive. 2 studies done at the Arizona State University, one in 2012, another in 2016, found similarly negligible rates of impersonation fraud. The project found 10 cases of voter impersonation fraud nationwide from 2000 to 2012. The follow-up study, which looked for fraud specifically in states where politicians have argued that fraud is a pernicious problem, wait for it, found zero successful persecutions for impersonation fraud in 5 states from 2012 to 2016. A review of the 2016 election, it goes on and on. And here's a piece in the Washington Post. There have been just 4 documented cases of voter fraud in 2016 election.
It's a really small tip of a really big iceberg.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There could be a lot more. And be very clear. I mean, again, this is the classic example where Donald Trump's crazy bullshit musings synchronize with a policy and legal agenda that has been waging a war on low-income people, obviously people of color, young people, anybody that votes against Republicans.
Yeah. We may not be a democracy, but we're more of a democracy than the Republicans and certain Democrats want us to be. So
there's no doubt about that.
Take it seriously, folks.
There's no doubt about that.
Political franchise, good and important.
100%. Brendan, you had expressed concern about lack of voter ID. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to get I think there are a lot of creative possibilities. We could have, barcodes, when people get their Bill Gates vaccine.
I was just going to say that.
Bill Gates vaccine.
Hey,
wow, you want to mix up the Bill Gates. So in other words, you want the Bill Gates vaccine to be part of a vote monitoring program?
I think it'd be very efficient system. I think there's a lot of potential there.
I like that. That's sort of like that's actually kind of like a grand bargain between the globalists and the nativists right there. All right. We're going to take a brief break and we'll come right back with John Nichols. He's author of The Fight for the Soul of the Democratic Party, The Enduring Legacy of Henry Wallace's Anti-Fascist, Anti-Racist Politics. This is a great book, folks.
Actually, we're just going to bring him on.
We're just going to bring him on. I'm still used to that.
Right. Yeah, no, I know.
Sorry about that. I guess we're just going to bring him right on.
Yeah.
Very eager for this conversation.
Yeah. Here he comes. Let's take a little bit to get connected here.
Hey there.
John, how you doing? I'm great, brother. We're live, as you heard. I guess we don't have a transition break. So
I like that.
We are straight to it.
Yeah.
John Nichols from The Nation magazine. He's author many books, but most recently, in the book we'll be discussing today, is The Fight for the Soul of the Democratic Party. And let me see, where is the subtitle? I lost my page here. I got to say this. The Fight for the Soul of the Democratic Party, The Enduring Legacy of Henry Wallace's Anti-Fascist, Anti-Racist Politics. John Nichols, how are you, my friend?
I am well, my friend, and I'm honored to be with you. Are we linked up in all the ways that we should be?
We are linked up in all the ways that we should be, and we are cooking.
We don't have video, John. Do you want to
we don't
video?
have John. Sorry, well, I didn't even see that, John.
Let me make sure we do that. Hang on. Right. Start video.
There we go. We got you. Well, no.
We had you for a second, and then we lost you.
I'm mysterious.
There we are.
Honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. Well, John, Anna and I had you on the Jacobins weekend show that we co-host, and that conversation, which I recommend everybody obviously go and watch too, there was just so much richness in it that I wanted to have another conversation with you, and frankly another. I'll have you on TMBS hopefully in June. There's so many different threads that we can pull from here, but just start by reminding everybody of who Henry Wallace was and how he fits into, I guess, 2 parts. Who was Henry Wallace, and how does he fit into an actual American progressive tradition?
That is a very good set of questions. And the best way to begin is to say that Henry Wallace was a farmer. He was born in a very rural part of Iowa, Orient Township in Adair County. And grew up in a farm family. His family not only farmed on the ground, but they also were active in agricultural activism and editing a farm paper. And that's how he came to be known. Their paper was called Wallace's Farmer, and he was its editor. It was a progressive Republican tradition that he came out of. He split with the Republicans often. And in 1932, in the most important split, with the Republicans for him. He met a young candidate for president